You almost felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright.
And that surprised you, Grace?
It was a factory. I thought it would be dark and dirty.
Then why go to work there?
I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Oh, I didn't miss it so much. The girls were all so nice, and the work wasn't hard. It wasn't like factory work, really. It was more like art. Painting those dials, we were artists.
You know, I'm not really the one you should be talking to. Von Shishaki, he's the guy you should be talking to.
Now, Arthur, you know he won't talk to us.
It was his process.
Tell me about that process, Arthur. You used a powder?
I used a powder. The girls would mix it with an adhesive to make the paint. And that business with the brushes, I didn't invent that. You know, they were doing that when I started here.
But you knew about it.
Oh, we all knew about it. Just didn't know what it meant.
Irene, in here! Irene, what are you doing? Get the door.
Amelia's working inspection today.
Is that bad?
Not for us. She's gonna be sitting in this room all day by herself, in the dark, checking dials.
Poor thing.
Poor thing. So, we're gonna leave her a little surprise. Boom! Like the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, won't that make her mad?
Let her get mad.
That's half the fun. I don't want to make her mad.
Grace, do you have to be that way about everything?
What way?
Your teeth, Grace. Put some on your teeth.
Okay.
It ain't like Amelia don't deserve it anyhow. She paints more dials than any girl on the floor, and she doesn't bother to talk to nobody either. You say, Amelia, what's new? And she just looks at you funny.
I don't think she can speak much English.
Wouldn't kill her to smile now, would it? She's coming. Get the light.
Okay. Miss McNeil,
Pain in your face. Have you gone out your mind?
it was just a joke.
Just a joke? A joke like that can lose a girl her job.
Now, Miss McNeil, I'm sure that's not necessary.
I don't tolerate no foolishness, Doctor.
Sure. Very good. Foolishness we do not want, do we? Mr. Reader, this is the inspection room. All the dials that come in here are painted. And here are some of the girls who should be on the floor working. Girls, this is Mr. Reader, my new vice president and your new plant manager.
I was just telling Mr. Reader what a fine bunch of girls we have here. I'm sure he must think I'm halfway out of my mind now.
Mr. Reader, perhaps you would like to have a word with the girls? Miss McNeil.
Well, thank you. Well, girls, you see that paint you've been playing with? It's very expensive. It takes several tons of ore to produce a single gram of radium. You know, that's a lot of work. A lot of hard work for our men in the extraction plant. You know, they do this gladly. You understand why? Why they work so hard, what we are all working for?
The war?
That's right. The war. I mean, the dials you paint save lives, girls. Our boys in the field depend on them. Reading them in the dark, not mistaking what they see. Or else some of our boys won't be coming home. So if you don't take work seriously, then you are playing into the hands of the Kaiser. And we wouldn't want that now, would we?
No, not at all. I'm sorry.
So, let's leave the Tom and Rita home and get back to work.
Mr. Reader, I just wanted to say that, I just wanted to say that I'm sorry. I will never do nothing like this ever again.
You keep this in mind. If you do right by us, we'll do right by you.
May 17th, 1921. Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic, the Graphic's only girl reporter.
Jock Youngwood here for the Newark Ledger, Newark's first source for news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist.
her by the Marie Curie Radium Club, an association of over 100,000 American women.
Who each give $1 to support humanitarian research with radium.
Grace? Grace! Irene, look! I got my certificate. Member Marie Curie Radium Club.
You gave $1.
Oh, it's all for science.
Science? Grace, what about my room and board?
Oh, look, there she is! Come on, I don't care. Welcome all. I must ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, please limit your questions. Madame Curie is about to embark on an exhaustive tour of the country and is under strict doctor's orders to rest. Although, in the typical fashion of a scientist who can think only of her research, her life's work, she has refused to rest.
Madame Curie, what do you plan to do with the radium?
Eh?
Well, what do you plan to do with that radium?
I will continue to find better methods for the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all cancer?
Cure for the cancer? Yes, radium is a cure for the cancer.
But some doctors dispute that.
Since they don't understand the methods, there is no question radium is a cure for the cancer.
Madame Curie, how have you managed to devote yourself both to science and your children?
It has not been easy. But my daughter share my gratitude to the American women and their interest in my science and my work. I am most grateful.
Madame Curie, I have no more questions. Madame Curie is on a tight schedule. This is Andrew Carnegie, a sent to car, and will escort Dr. Curie personally, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present the gift of 1 gram of radium.
You see that, Charlie? That's a marketing opportunity. Instead of one of our customers' watches, courtesy of the United States Radium Corporation.
We'll need a press release.
No, Charlie. Radium isn't just for scientists to study. The average American can share in its glory every night. In his watches, in his clocks. And all those who consider them novelties ought to consider the advances from the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph, the telephone, the automobile, all once dismissed as novelties, as toys,
Are now essentials to modern life.
Yes.
Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Whoa, Charlie. Watch is absolutely that's not where the growth is. Come on. You heard? It's the medical market. And Standard Chemicals, only because Vaughn's a shop you let him take it. But Charlie, I'm saying if we take it, we could add half the business, and it's all about positioning.
Standard Chemical publishes a journal. Since it outdated 12,000 doctors, we could do something similar.
Yes, something scholarly, something that doctors would respect.
A bibliography listing every article ever published on radium.
With capsule reports, they get the information, and they find it fast.
And have us to thank for it.
Charlie, we could sell to everybody in the United States Radium Corporation.
The American Medical Association.
That's the spirit, Charlie. Advertising. It's the wave of the future. It's not just the product, it's the way we promote it.
4 years later, that's it.
Oh, Grace, you should have seen it. The church, it was filled with flowers. Lilies and carnations and orchids. You know how Amelia loved orchids.
Flags.
Those were orchids, Irene.
No, Catherine, those were flags.
Orchids. Purple orchids. I think I know an orchid when I see one. Oh. And that smell. Grace, what was that smell? It was like
Flowers?
no, it was like heaven. I was gonna say it smelled like heaven.
Like heaven. Catherine, it was a funeral. You painted out like it was some Valentino picture.
It was not just a funeral. It was Amelia's, and it was beautiful. Grace, it was like the botanical gardens, and the company sent a big spray of flowers too. Carnations.
Mums.
Those were carnations.
No, Catherine, those well, it sounds like it was a nice service anyway.
Girls, the whistle's already gone off. Now then, I received new instructions this day. We're going back to the old way of pointing the brushes. Losing too much paint in the cloth. But, yes, Grace? Something you wish to say?
Dr. Von Shishaki, He told me not to do that. He said it was unsanitary.
Unsanitary? Well, I can hardly believe he'd say such a thing. We've done this as long as I've been here. You must have misunderstood him.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're not to get new Russians who have done with the old. And they have to be so bad they can't get a point anymore.
You can't make a quota like
Well,
that.
we'll do our best then, since I have my instructions.
I need a new brush.
It's not for us to be asking the questions, is it? It's for us to do the work.
I have my instructions. Girls, I have my instructions.
Here's an instruction for you, McNeil. Let some of the starch out of your corset. Restrict the service. McNeil, are you kidding? You think that that woman would cross the street from her own mother?
Yes, everybody else was, though. She was about the only girl on the floor who wasn't there.
I wanted to come, but Mom was working and I have to take care of the little ones.
You could have brought them.
All 7.
I'm just saying, if it was me, I'd have tried to get there.
Hey, lay off. Grace was as bad as it is. Were there many fellas at the service?
Oh, yes, lots of fellas. Mr. Roth from the front office, Dr. Von Shishaki, and Mr. Reeder was there.
And he left early.
He was there all the same. Oh, and Grace, you know that fellow from Crystallizing? What's his name? The one with the red hair.
Oh, the tall fellow with the freckles?
Yes, the one who snaps his fingers all the time.
George.
Yes.
Jerry.
It's George.
No, it's Jerry Mallon. He was the one that was always talking to Amelia in the day room.
Oh, that's right. Oh, Grace, after the service, he goes over to the coffin and he goes like this, he goes.
No.
Yes.
Really?
For Pete's sake. No, he did. Nobody could believe it.
And so what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her, that's what. Don't you think so, Grace?
Well, I guess he had to be if he did that.
Can you imagine if he loved her and he never told her, never could bring himself to say she was just so beautiful and he's so shy and it's too late. Their love is forever thwarted. It's too late. And they will never get the chance.
Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia.
Poor kid.
Her family took it awful bad, Grace. Albina, Quinta, every one of them crying, even her father crying so bad. I ain't never seen a man cry like that, just bawling like a baby.
And you know why, too. Because their daughter had just died. It's what she died from.
Irene, don't go spreading stories.
It's not a story. Albina told us. And there's no reason why Grace shouldn't know. Know what? Come on, know what? Tell me. Amelia?
Ain't it awful? Albina said her father's fit to be tied too. 6 girls at home, and ain't none of them ever go to a dance ever again.
All because Amelia upped and died from syphilis. You don't know just what she died from. You don't know that for sure.
It was on the death certificate.
Amelia had complications from syphilis. If Amelia was ever so nice. Well, guess she got around more than we knew. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe the doctors got it wrong. He could have got it wrong. Doctors are wrong sometimes.
That's true. Remember May Ivy?
Yes. What's got to do with it?
Don't you remember up to the day she died, the doctor said she'd be fine, take a nice cup of tea tea and a good night's rest. 2 days later, we'll take her to the Rosedale Summer School.
Girls, your attention please. The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Yes, thank you, Miss McNeil. Girls, we're here to put a few rumors to rest.
And to explain a few changes. Yeah?
Yes, girls, as some of you may have heard, Bonchishaki is stepping down at well. We'd like to take this opportunity
To make this goodbye, Mr. Reader has kindly consented. Some of you I have known since you were little girls, coming here during the war, working so hard, day after day at the bench. 200, 300, some of you even 500 dials a day. So excited to be a part of our work here. With this company I started in my own kitchen, mixing up paints. I knew I had discovered something miraculous. Something to make life better, easier. And now what do I need? More and more uses there are for radium. More than I ever dreamed possible.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes. Thank you, Doctor. Now, girls, the doctor is obviously a very busy man, so let's wish him the best of luck in his new business ventures. Very good, girls.
And Mr. Reader, let us good luck wish to you as well. To the new plate you step up to as our company president, my congratulations to you.
Thank you.
When Mr. Reader came to me 4 years ago, I knew I found in him a man of great discovery and great ambition.
Thank you.
Little did I guess the direction that ambition would take.
Thank you.
But one of the great things about this country is the opportunity it presents to a young man and his friends.
And so, girls.
And so, ladies, let us wish Mr. Reader the very best in the new direction he intends the company to take.
A new direction.
With the slowdown in dial painting and the people do more towards the medical market, there will be a lot of changes, yeah?
Well, what the doctor is referring to, well, some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial painting studios.
Which means less work for our girls here.
Well, in the short run, girls, things may be slower, but girls, I can assure you that the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut needs help setting up its new dial painting studios. We were intending to make an announcement next week, but we'll make it now. It's big news.
Well, we'll be asking some of you girls to head on up there.
Girls that work is supervisory in nature, which means more pay. You have some girls in mind, Miss.
Louise Conlon is one, Sarah Dutch, Lena McCarthy, and Catherine Schwab. And the entire list downstairs are posted today.
Well, as we are all on the clock, we will leave you to your work. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. My best wishes to you.
But back to work with you girls.
Are you gonna?
But you ladies, would you go into Connecticut?
Oh, I don't know. It's awful far from home. I'm sure Tommy would have it.
Come on, Grace, it would be so fun. Don't you think so, Irene? Irene?
Irene, honey, are you feeling okay? Yeah. Yeah. Why wouldn't I be? Your mouth is bleeding.
$35 a week, and she just quits the place.
There's more to life than money.
That's what you say when you're young, Tom, but you and Grace get to be my age. I'll spoil your kids underfoot. You'll thank God for every penny you put by.
Oh, we got money to buy.
How much?
Enough to get married on.
It don't take much to get married on, but do you got enough to stay married on?
You let's get married and we'll find out.
Are you still eating, Tommy?
It's good.
You're gonna get fat.
Gotta keep up his strength. He works hard for his money.
Don't start, Mama.
I didn't say nothing. It's your father who hit the roof
No,
over it.
he didn't hit the roof.
Oh, you should have seen the look on the man's face, Tom, when he found out Grace wasn't working no more. Most girls would give their eye teeth for a job like that. Good money, easy work, and nice-looking fellows around the plants.
Oh, you never told me about them, Grace.
Or many of them hardly seem worth the mention.
And she leaves it all behind for reasons unknown. I'm tired of it up here, she says. Are you tired of that paycheck? I says. Who needs a paycheck? She says. I got a boyfriend to take me out on Saturday.
She said
Oh,
that.
you know I didn't. And for your information, I've got a job. I start at the bank on Monday.
Oh yes, the bank. And what's it pay?
Enough.
Enough. Always enough. You know what that means, Tommy. It don't come close to what it pays off at the radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work. Well, I guess you'll be spending more money on clothes then.
Oh boy, she really steamed at you.
I don't see what difference it makes so long as I work in
Well,
somewhere.
don't make no difference to me. I just thought you liked working up there.
Sure, I liked it. I worked there 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail for 8 years. I plan on delivering mail another 20 or 30 years if I'm lucky. Nothing like a steady job and a good pension to help you sleep at night.
I don't have a pension and I sleep just
Oh,
fine.
I bet you do. So how come you quit, Grace?
Lots of girls are quitting. Work is slow and besides, since I really left, it's just not so much fun. And wouldn't you like to have a girlfriend who works at a bank?
Not as much as I'd rather ever like, we don't work anywhere.
Close your eyes, I've got a surprise for you.
Yeah, I don't want to pull the shades.
Not that kind of surprise. Close your eyes. Okay. Now look.
Wallpaper?
For the baby's room.
Babies, are you going to kiss me or already thinking about babies?
There's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, Grace, but you know most girls get married before they think about decorating the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
But they're both the same.
No, they're not. This one has big flowers and this one has little flowers, so come on and pick one.
Is this some kind of test?
No, it's just wallpaper.
It is some kind of test.
Pick one, Tommy.
I don't know, that one.
Really?
The other one then.
Well, which one do you like, though?
They're both nice.
This one's pretty, don't you think?
That one then.
But I want you to like it, too.
Okay, like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper is just wallpaper.
No, it isn't. You've got to pick something you can stand to look at for the next 20 years.
The same way you pick women?
You fit up, smarty pants, and you won't ever get that
Oh,
kiss.
fine, fine. That one hands down.
I like it, too. A nice neutral yellow goes with either a boy or a girl. And until the baby comes, we could use the room for other things.
Yeah, like what?
Like a painting studio,
A
maybe?
painting studio, maybe? Did you get enough paint done at work?
Not the kind I wanted to. Tommy, I used to paint watercolors when I was in school. But ever since I started working, I just don't have more time. What with taking care of Ma and watching the little ones. But once we're married, I want a little time, just a little time to myself so I can paint watercolors. Or oils, maybe portraits in oil. I could paint your portrait if you'd like.
Oh, sure, paint a big portrait of me, and we can hang it out in the outhouse. All our friends will come by, just use the can so we can look at it.
The way you talk sometimes.
Oh, you want to paint pictures, Grace? Paint pictures. I ain't gonna stop you.
You say that now, but once we're married, you'll change your tune.
Oh, sure, I'll be whistling Dixie then.
Wait till you come home one night. Some Christmas, maybe, when every customer on your route has ordered 3 times the mail, and maybe some dog took after you, and some old lady kept you talking on her stoop, telling you all about her grandchildren, and you wouldn't have the heart to tell her you can't talk. I know you. So you come home one night all cranky and late besides, hungry, wanting your dinner. And there I am with my easel set up in the kitchen, paints all over the table, and a drop cloth on the floor, and your dinner nowhere in sight. What would you say then?
Well, it better be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say. Where's my dinner?
Oh, sure, but so look at it. I just like to admire it on a full stomach is all. So how did you pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go look at stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, who cares? Let's just get married, Grace. You're plenty old enough. Tell your mom we're just not waiting anymore. We'll just run away.
Tommy, we are not running away. We're gonna do it right. A nice church wedding with flowers and music. And then a week at the seashore. Just us. And after that, we'll go set up a place of our own.
Mouth hurt you again?
Yeah. The dentist wants to pull another tooth from the back.
Oh, well, what's a tooth?
From Miss Hazel Crusader. Any connections to the others?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Knows how to write a good letter anyway, that lawyer.
She no longer works here, does she?
Left 6 months ago.
That makes 4 now.
3.
Now 4 if you count that Maggie girl.
I wouldn't include her.
Why? She worked here.
She also worked other places, and what she got sick from. You couldn't get here. At least I don't think you could.
That's not funny, Charlie. Besides, this is just idle talk.
In my experience, there tends to be something to the idle talk when it comes to girls like that.
She was from a large family, wasn't she?
Italians, 10, 12 people all in 3 rooms. It's a wonder they don't all die from one disease or another.
3 then. And how many dead? Only Miss Maggie, but we haven't heard from her people. Well, it's too late for them anyway. The statute of limitations is 2 years, but Miss Crusader, she is in a different position. She has the opportunity to make some trouble for us now. You know, in all my time here, no one has as much as slipped on the floor and now this.
We're talking about 4 girls out of that. How many hundreds we've employed?
I don't know, 600, 700 over the years?
And some of them were sick when they got here. That one girl, complete cripple, couldn't even get down to the studio.
I don't care how she got down those stairs. What mattered to me was that she was a fast worker and a sweet little girl.
But she was in
Charlie, she needed to work.
Arthur,
And not just to work, I mean to feel productive, you know, to have a purpose. That's what work does, Charlie. It gives us purpose. You know what? I don't see any reason why we should stop hiring girls like her.
When they get sick and try to blame us for it, you might want to reconsider that policy.
You know what? Let's see what your nurse say.
Drinker? Some professor at the Harvard School of Industrial
No,
Hygiene.
he chairs an apartment and he's agreed to look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit hiring a guy like that?
6 girls have quit this week. And Miss McNeil, she tells me there could be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
It's never been like this, okay? Those girls are terrified. And we have to do something to calm them.
But letting Drinker examine them? That sounds like a recipe for mass hysteria.
Then we'll call it a routine physical. Edward?
Companies do give physicals all the time.
The Drinker will start next month.
In the meantime, I suggest that we make an offer for Miss Crusader.
Whoa. So, Senator,
There is no proof her problems are connected to us.
If she sues, believe me, you will not like the publicity it brings, and neither will the investors, for that matter.
You think this will affect the stock offerings?
And you don't? Great.
we'll open at 30 and we'll close at 10.
Or not open at all.
But if we give this girl something, that will keep her quiet.
It would be a condition of the settlement.
Maybe we better do it.
Suppose that lawyer has a racket going on. I mean, come on. He finds sick girls, he convinces them of making suits. Then we pay for his larceny.
Unless Sarah genuinely believes she got sick here.
Unless, as Charlie said, she's from a large immigrant family, not very well educated, not a lot of resources.
A few $100s would make a big difference to a girl like that.
Precisely. Buy some medicine, pay for some of the medical bills. By the sound of this letter, it doesn't sound like she has long to live in the first place.
So, it would be a gesture of decency.
Exactly.
How much should we offer?
March 24th, 1924. Jack Dunwood here for the Newark Ledger.
It's Jane Harlan with the New York Graphic. The Graphic's only going reporter.
Could radiant water pose as a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific studies suggest a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer a miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some reported a significant abatement in their symptoms.
This poor, brave woman could not.
About 3 of them, and let me tell you, they are a handful.
Dr.
Preliminary at best.
Your recommendations, Dr. Marland?
I advise further study. Further study.
Then Mrs. Michaels tried Radithor.
They said it would help my rheumatism, so I drank a bottle a day for a month. It wasn't cheap, but I was desperate.
The test sample is questionably small.
Well, first off, it's like I'd been hit by a bolt of lightning. It was that powerful. And now, I drink a bottle of leaf just to maintain my health. I can scrub the kitchen floors and hang the laundry the same way I had always done before.
Dr. William J. A. Bailey of Orange, inventor of Radithor, reports strong demand for his product.
Dr. William Bailey of Orange announces sales of Radithor exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radioactivity is one of the most remarkable agents in medical science. I drink Radithor myself and can vouch for its power.
A bottle of tea?
At $1 a bottle,
Worth every penny.
Yes, indeed. I myself was the picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing, vitalizing qualities of radiant water. Now look at me. I'm nearly 50 years old, and I have the energy of a man in his early 30s.
You rather look like a man in his 30s.
Well, thanks.
a testament to the tonic's potency,
Or to the seller's creativity?
Radithor, it's perpetual sunshine.
and a perpetual money machine for its inventor.
Is there no end to what science can do?
Maybe we should have made an appointment.
Don't need no appointment.
It's a busy place, Catherine. If you didn't make an appointment, maybe you should make one now.
I shouldn't need to make an appointment for this.
I'm sorry, I don't find anything under Schwab.
Oh, it's under Rudolph.
Rudolph?
The girl I'm asking about, Irene Rudolph.
Did she file the complaint?
No, her dentist did.
The dentist.
Irene's dentist, Dr. Neff. He said she might have Fossey jaw and was going to complain to the health department about it. When I asked him, he said it hurt nothing, and that was more than 6 months ago now.
Fossey jaw, you say?
Yes!
Could have been like the doctor said, Catherine. Just a blood infection.
That's the thing. Where is it from? What gave it to her?
From dirt. When you get infections from dirt.
From dirt? Her face puffed up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotted so bad she couldn't eat nothing. You think you get something like that from a little dirt? You get it from phosphorus. They're telling everybody it's radium in the paint, but really it's the phosphorus that makes it real.
Oh, honestly, Catherine. Can't really believe that.
You saw her, Grace.
Well, Catherine, if it's like you say, then they never would have let you work there in the first place.
Sure, they'd have shut that place right down.
Who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know. The county?
Honestly, Grace, you're such a ninny. Hey, how are they gonna shut it down if they don't know about it? Ever think that?
Now, come on.
Yes, all right.
No, she's got no business talking to you that way.
She's just upset.
Upset she's gone around the bend. She probably thinks that they're dumping arsenic in the drinking water. Actually thinking that they're kidnapping babies and using them to stoke the furnace.
Go ahead and laugh. You'll be laughing when you're coming in here 6 months from now asking after Grace.
Crying out loud.
It's just a toothache, Catherine.
Yeah? Just a toothache? That's how it started for Irene. Just a toothache. You wait, Grace. You wait. You'll wake up one morning, your gums hurt so bad, you won't be able to open your mouth so weak and
All right, stop it, Catherine.
stand up. The pain is so bad, you'll be able to sleep. Your face on it. Stop it! Stop!
Right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph?
Yes, ma'am.
She worked at the Radium Girls.
Yes.
Nothing. The company is in full compliance with all state health and labor regulations. They ordered an analysis of the paint and
Let me see this.
Miss, really.
Who's Miss Young?
That's the health officer, Miss.
The paint is a harmless compound of radium and zinc.
As I was saying, there's no phosphorus in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
There. You see, Catherine?
Miss Young toured the plant herself, and she found nothing amiss. I'm sorry.
I guess we can get some lunch then?
I want to file another complaint.
They already did an investigation!
I want to file another complaint!
Brother!
Catherine. These folks, they're awful busy here. way.
Grace. 3 surgeries. And they wanted to cut her again. She finally said no. She knew. And what was left of her jaw rotted so bad the smell was terrible. And the worst thing was I couldn't look at her. I really was so afraid of being alone and I left her alone. And then she died in the middle of the night. Nobody was with her.
I'm sorry. Can we get another form? My friend would like to file another complaint.
Another complaint. Is the girl still sick?
No. She died. Wait right here.
Harriet, you come down from that tree at once. I'm waiting for Papa. Fine, when he gets here, I'll send him up after you. There he is! Papa! Papa! Harriet, come down at once! Papa, I can see clear to the church.
Can you? You see grandfather?
No, but I can see the schoolhouse. Think this is funny?
Diane, she's enjoying herself.
Harriet!
Tell you what, if she has no one to shout to, she won't shout.
When she gets down there, I want you to have a talk with her.
Diane, she's 9 years old.
Hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Diane, tell you what, time is on your side. I mean, in a year or two, she was all interested in trees and develop a fascination with bullets.
That's supposed to scare
And you will be frantic because you want to climb trees.
What's that?
Something to give you vitality.
I think I need vitality.
It says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
Well, we're suppliers. Want to try it?
It'll give me vitality. How could I refuse?
I'll give you one I can.
Your father came by to see me this morning.
Another hard luck case?
4 children, all under the age of 6.
Let's see. Wife in the hospital with cancer?
Yes.
And husband's been laid off from the bricklayer.
Yes.
And through no fault of his own.
Yes. How did you know?
Father came by to see me yesterday. You know, it's never enough to have ordinary ambitions. You gotta have a mission in life.
And you do.
No, Diane, I have a business plan.
You can't tell me you wouldn't help this man if you
Well,
could.
that's if I could, Diane, but I can't give him a job that doesn't exist.
What about Dr. Lehman?
Dan?
Maybe he could use some
No,
help.
Dan needs trained technician, not a bricklayer. Why don't you send him to Miss Middleton? Don't you guys have a club for these things?
You mean the Women's Club
Yes,
Civics
that's the
Committee?
one.
Well, it is true the club takes an interest in such matters. We're not an employment service either. Which is why I thought you could help him.
Don't you love being married to the company president?
It has its advantages.
Thought of trading in?
Do you?
You know, I got my shoe shined this morning. You know, and as I sat there and I watched the boy work, I thought, this is quite fair price. I mean, the work walks in, the work walks out. There's no warehouse, no health inspectors, no stock.
And you'll trade it all in for your own shoe shine stand.
You're a headache that way.
You're in one of those moods again. What is it? Can't be the market, it went up today.
Now you're reading the financial papers?
I have to entertain myself somehow. But seriously, what is it? You're acting rather strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You can tell me you know.
There's nothing to tell, really. This is going to be our best year ever.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening.
I'll get my checkbook.
What for?
For your bricklayer.
Artie, this man needs a job, not charity. What is it your father says? A working man needs to work. It
Wears out his soul not to work. Well, Diane, if it's a matter of soul, that's different. All right, I'll have him talk to Dan.
Artie!
But I mean, no promises, Diane.
No promises.
Here you have.
And how long have you had this drainage?
About a week or two. Heard something awful, Dr. Neff.
Anything else bothering you?
My back hurts some too.
Back, talk to your regular doctor.
He says it's just nerves.
Nerves?
About my wedding and all.
This isn't a case of nerves. I hope you told him that.
So what do you think?
I think you'd better think about surgery.
Couldn't we put that off just a little while until after my wedding?
If you don't have a surgery, there won't be a wedding.
Huh?
At least for everyone to listen to me. Your jawbone is decaying. That's black pus oozing out of your gums. It's the bone itself.
That's impossible.
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation. From Cecil Drinker, Harvard University. Enclosed is our report.
By the way,
We believe the trouble in the plant is due to the radium.
radium?
It can't be as bad as all that.
Scared me.
Put off the surgery, you can develop a septic condition. It could be fatal.
The blood changes in your employees be explained no other grounds.
Everything I've got, I've saved for my wedding.
The photographic films carried out by employees show heavy fogging.
I've got a suggestion for you.
We suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout the plant.
Go to the radium plant and explain your situation.
Go to the company?
We realize no proof can be offered at this present.
Well, once they see what kind of shape you're in,
It's impossible.
they've got to feel obligated to help you out.
But viewing the material and literature
It's a mistake.
and the facts disclosed in our investigation,
I don't see how they can refuse.
we recommend immediate and drastic remedial action.
Look, if you want, I can write to them for you. They can work through me, but just pay my bills directly.
Charlie!
You really think they'd do that?
They've got a moral obligation, don't you think?
I guess so.
We can do it right now. I'll go get some paper.
This can't be. That's all. He has to be wrong, that's all. Charlie, he has to be wrong. He must have overlooked something. If we're suffering from a new ailment caused by the radium, it should occur generally throughout the plant. One would expect. Several hundred milligrams in the solutions, the big vats at all times, several hundred in the ore, several hundred in crystallizing.
The entire backyard is filled with tailings.
Radium is present in good amounts all over the property.
If it's the radium, then the incident of illness should be highest in the
And
laboratory.
if no one there is sick,
Then maybe it's the radium with the zinc,
or peculiar to one plant alone.
a bacteria in the brushes,
No,
maybe.
it can't be the radium. There are dozens of application plants across the country, and none of them have reported anything like it.
The Department of Labor wants to see the report.
Yes, Charlie, I'm aware.
What do we do? This tears us to pieces. How do we answer them?
What is the report? We'll give him this.
One
The
page.
most important page.
Drinker will never stand for
Drinker
this.
works for us. This is a proprietary report. What we do is our business.
But the Department of
Charlie,
Labor...
I just need time. Just a little time.
It can shut us down.
Oh, what? Those scientists? Oh, those government men? You think they have any idea what they do in a business like this? No, Charlie. Bonds shop. You think advertising was a dirty word? No, I can't tell you how many times I walked into that man's office and he turned a blind eye to everything I told him. Charlie, we showed him. You know, we are the largest single supplier of radium in the world. And you know what it took for us to get here. So do you think that I'm going to stand idly by and let our good name be dragged through the mud? Trust me, Charlie.
way, Dr. Flynn.
Not at all, my dear. Not at all.
I told the surgeon he was coming over here, so he sent the results of my blood work.
Excellent.
And so...
Well, I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
It does?
Well, that's what happens to an old man who smokes. Now tell me, what else seems to be bothering you?
My feet and back mostly. I've had to wear a back brace for a while now.
So I see. And this started before you left the company, or after?
After I left. Dr. Neff says this all has to do with the radium plant. I know another girl who I worked with, and she died from it. Irene Rudolph?
Yes, a terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
It's an ulcerated condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
Oh, no, not from the radium, from poor dental care. So let that be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
There was something else about this. In the paper about other girls who have been getting sick. One girl who I worked with for a long time, she's in the hospital in New York. The doctors are looking at her and they don't know what to do. They say they've never seen anything like it.
Miss Fryer! Don't tell me to pay attention to those reports. Those reports are not scientific. A reporter does not use scientific methods. A writer writes to sell, not to educate. A scientist is not concerned with what sells. He is concerned with the truth. He undergoes years of painstaking research using intricate, complicated procedures that most people could not begin to comprehend. You would do well to listen to science and ignore what's written in those papers. Because I can tell you right now, radium has nothing to do with what's ailing you.
It doesn't.
Not at all.
Well, then what's ailing me?
Poor Dives, Fryer. Poor Dives.
No, Dr. Neff.
Dr. Neff is a dentist, not a physician. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You need to eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do in the winter.
And eat as well capsules in particular. Cook them if you must, but eat them twice a week at a minimum. That will help with the anemia. Miss Fryer, I'm a scientist, and I take a purely scientific interest in your case. By allowing me to examine you today, you're allowing me to further continue my studies. So I thank you. Please, call me anytime, day or night.
Okay, Dr. Flynn. Thanks.
Happy to be of service.
Dr. Frederick Flynn, PhD Physiology, Columbia University. PhD? And that man's not a real doctor.
My findings, Mr. Reader.
He's seen half a dozen girls used to work at the plant. Word I hear he's working for the company.
An objective evaluation I trust.
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
And I let that fella examine me?
I never examined her per se. It was never, well, a medical examination per se.
Well, nevertheless, you were able to offer her some useful advice.
Well, I did my best for the girl.
Every girl he sees, it's the same thing. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood is better than mine, he says.
And how are you doing on the rest of the report?
The animal studies that I conducted revealed no adverse effects from the radium. The problem, as you suspected, Mr. Reader, is one of poor hygiene alone.
I just don't understand how someone could do something like that to you. Just straight out lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me.
It's just the way you said, Catherine. These people will say anything. They'll do anything.
Except the right thing.
We're gonna make them. Catherine, we're gonna make sure somebody hears about this.
Well, I am grateful for all that you've done, Dr. Flynn, but to be honest,
I'm particularly grateful that that young lady Aaron is doing much better.
Never examined her. No, Mr. Reader. I merely consulted her.
Well, all the same, she's doing much better, isn't that so?
From what I can tell, she's on the way to recovery.
Excellent.
My fees and expenses?
Mr. Lee will draw you a check.
And so, I leave you with this final thought. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have to accept this injustice. We can use our powers as the consumers to influence those who would wish to profit off of our patronage. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Wiley. And thanks to the New Jersey Consumers League for another job well done. This concludes our program for the evening. I don't think we have time for questions, but we hope that you will join us next door for some light refreshments.
Morning.
My throat's a little dry. Can I help you, miss? Yes, ma'am. I'm here to see Miss Wiley. You're not a member of the women's club. No, ma'am. Are you a guest member? No, ma'am, but Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business hours. I'm not leaving until I speak with Miss Wiley.
It's all right, Miss Middleton. It's fine. You must be Miss Fryer.
Yes, ma'am. Miss Young at the health department said that I should come see you. I know I should have stopped by at your regular office, but I've missed a lot of work lately, and I didn't want to miss any more.
No need to apologize. I've been meaning to call on you myself. Please have a seat.
Catherine and I, we wrote the company about our troubles, but we never heard nothing. So then we went to see a few lawyers, except they all said that they couldn't help us because it'd been so long since we left the radium plant. Something about the law won't allow it?
The statute of limitations.
Right. Anyway, one lawyer, he said he would try to help us sue anyhow, except he wants $1,000 up front. I already spent everything I saved for my wedding on doctors and dentists and hospitals, and they still don't know what's wrong exactly. And Tom, he's my fella. He says he don't care. He wants to get married anyhow, except I just don't see what good I'm gonna do with him like this. Miss Wiley, if I could just get a little compensation, then maybe I could settle some of my debts and I wouldn't feel like I was saddling Tom with such a burden. I'm sorry to rattle on to you about these things. I'm just so tired of being pushed around.
I don't blame you.
Miss Young, at the health department, she said the Consumers League had, what did she say? Clout?
Oh, I'd certainly like to think so. We've definitely had our fair share of successes.
So can you help us then?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, just how far are you willing to go with this?
Okay.
Say we found you a lawyer to take your case. Someone willing to take it on a contingency. You wouldn't have to pay unless you won. Would you be willing to sue?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now, say the company comes by and says, "Here, Miss Fryer, here's some money. Only you were to tell no one what we've agreed to. You were to tell no one about how you got sick."
Keep it a secret from me.
Yes.
That don't sound right.
It isn't. But that's what they'll try to do. They'll try to buy your silence. Is it for sale, Miss Fryer?
No. No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So you will try to help us then?
I think I can help you. If you're willing to take some chances.
Chances?
Miss Fryer, if you'd be willing to set aside some of your own needs, just for a little bit, I believe we can put a stop to this company. We can stop them dead in their tracks.
What do I have to do?
We'll start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1? You want her to talk to the newspaper?
Not just one newspaper, many newspapers.
That's really necessary. We only want the race to get her compensation.
Tommy, let her finish.
I understand your concern, but the company has already shown it's willing to go to extremes in order to protect itself. No, I'm afraid the only way we're going to be able to get through to them is by hitting them where it matters most, their public image. When every newspaper in America tells your story. How you suffered, how you were sorely treated, and how the company denied all responsibility. Believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reeder will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I understand, it's a little bit frightening.
That's okay. Right now, I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hold on to that anger, Miss Fryer. Only be sure no one else sees it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer. That's our strongest weapon right now. And the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
On the strange case of the Radium Girls,
Who claim they were poisoned at the hands of their employer.
and now seek their day in court.
$250,000. That's the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000.
That's me, it's all sham.
What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
Sick of working, sure.
Doctors say Radium Girls only have 1 year left to live.
Only 1 year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money?
What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I'd buy a wardrobe like Irene Castle's.
I'd give it all to charity. Then I'd travel around the world, first class, with all of my friends.
I play the stock market.
I'd buy my wife a nice fur coat, and then a diamond the size of New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay my medical bills. And to pay off the second mortgage on my home. The one my father had to take out after my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer is at home,
Suffering bravely through this entire ordeal,
struggling valiantly to keep up her flagging spirits.
for the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile. But I try to smile. I know if I don't smile, I'll go crazy.
Tell us, Miss Fryer, how does it feel knowing you have so little time left?
I try not to think about it.
But it must get to you sometimes.
Knowing what you've been through, and the company's getting fat off of your labor.
And all they have to say about it is
No comments!
Don't you just want to punch somebody?
Oh no, that won't do no good. I'd rather just think about how it's gonna be when justice prevails. Then maybe I could do something nice for the folks. Send them on a trip or something. They never did have no honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood. We can only aspire to bear our cross in life as nobly as this young girl.
Mr. Barry, I will not stand for these kind of histrionics.
I have nothing to do with that, Mr. Buckley.
I have been in this game a long time, Mr. Barry, and whenever I see a story like this, step over the wires. And I am not so naive to believe that a plaintiff's attorney had nothing to do with this.
What is your proposal, Mr. Buckley?
$1,500 for each girl.
$1,500?
That's not even a year's wages.
We consider it rather generous, considering that your case won't survive the statute of limitations.
This is a case in equity, sir. The Chancery Court will come to a different conclusion.
The Chancery Court cannot rewrite the law, and the law is clear. 2 years from the date of injury, your clients are out of time.
2 years since the date the cause of injury is discovered.
Very creative. Very clever. I must admire your imagination. But you are a long way from convincing a judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, The press will continue to take great interest in our case, and the company's complete indifference to its workers.
No doubt that. It'd be wonderful press for the Consumers League, and you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You're the one hiding behind the statute of limitations.
Hiding? Miss Wiley?
You know very well the law never anticipated a case like this. These girls were dying years before anybody knew.
Before anyone knew. Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When, or should I say if, this case goes to court, I only hope that is your opening statement, Mr. Barry, because it'll make our defense. See you here.
Arrogance in that man!
Tell me again the purpose of these articles, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry, is the engine of reform.
You're antagonizing the company.
Then the strategy is working.
And what about the girls? How does it help them to read in a dozen different news articles that they have so little time to live?
Mr. Barry, clearly the U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing about the girls it has poisoned. But the average housewife in Orange cares very deeply. And so do millions of other women across the country. These women shop, they buy watches. Markley can be as smug as he likes, but the Consumers League campaign will lead to only one outcome, and he knows this. That's why he was here today.
I only hope you're right, Mrs. Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. Wait and see.
Dear Miss Schwab, I read of your sad story in the Boston Globe, and I'm so sorry for your plight. It seems in the time of rapid advancement that the average worker is merely overlooked. I would like to share with you girls the key to my own good health at the age of 92. It's called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Breyer, I read about your woeful situation in the Atlantic Constitution, and I'm going to offer you girls the solution. Venacine, a wonderful tonic made from all natural ingredients. Venacine will restore your health and vitality. We're prepared to offer you girls a lifetime supply of Venacine in exchange for the exclusive rights to use your photos in our advertisements.
Dear girl, I read about you in the Billy Gazette. I run 100 head of cattle up here, and well, I do quite well by myself. But I've always longed for some companionship, somebody to spend my time with. And I'm really going to offer you a comfortable home to spend your last few days. A poor girl like you suffered so much. Don't you think she deserves a few fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your admirer, Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Encloses my picture.
Look at this, Catherine. This man actually left a picture.
Are you alright, Catherine?
Need him again.
Should I get the nurse?
No, it's fine. It's done this before.
Maybe we should go.
No. Don't go.
Don't you need to sleep?
You can sleep. I never sleep.
Well, you'll sleep tomorrow.
Yeah. Might not wake up.
Of course you'll wake up.
Life don't go so well. Sometimes you don't come out of it so good. My mother's cousin went in for her appendix and she didn't come home again.
Well, you just can't think like that. That's all. Look at this mail, Catherine. Miss Wiley said folks would be on our side, and she sure was right. Here's one from California, and
What if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
What if we don't? My father will lose the house. He'll be on the street. You'll be on the street too. Your father must owe thousands. And you and Tommy will never get married. How can you stand for this? I just don't understand.
Catherine! They see what kind of shape we're in. It'd be awful hard to ignore, don't you think?
That'll be something we'll see the look on Mr. Reader's face when we get up on that stand.
You want to read some more letters?
They didn't have the vanilla by Council Chocolate.
Took you long enough?
Hey, don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me on the way over here. All of them reporters and all of them asking how I'm doing.
Waiting for me to die.
No one is waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother asking if I had died yet. And when she said no, they sounded disappointed.
Here. Eat some of this, it'll help you feel better.
Well, evening, girls, how about a picture?
For the love of Mike, what are you doing?
We need some pictures for the graphics exclusive on the girls.
What are you talking about?
$5,000, that's what? What do you say, Grace? That sound good to you? Think you could use $5,000?
I don't understand.
Perhaps you're familiar with Bernard McFadden.
Who, that faith healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Kreider, herbalist. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapy is just the thing to get these girls back on their feet. And the graphic will pay for it. All we ask is the exclusive rights to their story from here on out. See for yourself?
You want to pay us to see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money, huh?
Well, let me see.
You're serious, Grace?
The graphic always does business on the up and up.
I don't know.
Oh, Grace, where's your father own the house?
I don't know exactly.
In that last hospital bill? It had to be a couple $100 at least.
At least.
Maybe we should think about this.
All we do is talk to this herbalist fellow.
Of course, we'll have to get our money's worth. A regular series of features with pictures following the course of your treatment, illness, recovery, or otherwise, depending on how it goes.
And then you can just print whatever you want.
Maybe we get some color. Everybody adds color.
It don't sound so bad.
Maybe we should talk to Miss Wiley about it.
Miss Wiley, what's it to her? You're the one with the bills to pay.
It wouldn't be right to do something like this without talking to Miss Wiley first.
You're a big girl, Grace. Can't you make your own decisions?
Of course, I can make my own decisions.
Well, you take it if it came from the company.
Well, the company owes us a lot more than that.
Yeah, if we ever see it.
Great. Maybe we should do it.
It just don't feel right.
You're gonna talk to the reporters anyhow. I'd like to get something out of it.
He's right, you know. Why give your story away when people are crazy to read it? Believe me, you girls are cashing big. The day we ran that feature on you, bang! Sold out every copy at every newsstand. Everyone can sympathize with the plight of some poor, sick girl facing certain death, with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
I'd like you to go now. My friend is tired, she needs her rest.
At least think about it.
Sure, think it over. I completely understand. I mean, you're worried about what people would say. But hey, you gotta think of your own interests here. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't get something out of all this. Look out for number one. That's the way. Everyone else is out to get what they can, so why shouldn't you? Why should you have to sit back and keep your nose clean when everyone else is up to their elbows in it? I mean, come on, Grace, just think about it, okay?
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a number of girls who say they've got sick here. One of them, the girl's jaw had wanted so bad that I removed it. Just by looking at her mouth, as you can see here.
That's all right. Doctor, if you can put that away.
Maybe you'd rather look at an x-ray. This was an expensive case to treat, and I never got to my compensation. The girl died, but the family never paid.
I sympathize, Doctor, but what does that have to do with us?
Here's it straight. There's going to be lots more girls coming forward and saying they got sick here. So maybe we can do business together. You scratch my back, I scratch yours, that sort of thing.
Not following.
Suppose you were to give me a list of girls who worked here. I could see to it that there were no more lawsuits.
So you think you could cure them?
Oh, I couldn't put out here, no. What I'm saying is you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
How so, don't you know?
I'd examine them for radium necrosis. And then I would put out a favorable diagnosis for you, a pyorrhea, say, or something else. Quite a few cases will just die a natural death anyways, and The rest we can put up long enough for the statute of limitations to kick in, and it's too late to sue.
So you'll convince them that they don't have a case against the company.
Exactly. In particular court, I can testify that there was some other problem. There's strong testimony coming from the dentist who treated them.
And what makes you think that these girls will even come to you?
They'll come to me if I don't charge them anything.
Because we'd be paid.
Exactly right. We understand each other, Mr. Reader.
Exactly what do you expect, Dr. Neff?
I'd need $10,000 for my trouble so far, and for every girl I've agreed to see from here on out. $2 per visit, plus expenses for x-rays. I'm suggesting a gentleman's agreement here. Better off if it's not in writing.
No.
All right, we'll have it.
No, we'll do nothing of the kind. See, your proposal is immoral. We'll have nothing to do with it.
It's moral, you say. Oh, you're fine when you're talking about morals.
Mr. Lee.
We have hired guns ready to testify.
Those are expert witnesses.
Expert witnesses, paid lackeys is more like it. And none of them's got the dirt I want. Believe me, if you're smart, you'll play ball with me. There are plenty of other folks interested in my information.
Are you really threatening me?
Just a business proposition, Mr. Reader. Just looking after my interests the same way you look after yours.
Mr. Lee, help Dr. Neff to the door.
All right, you won't play ball, fine. But believe me, when this whole thing shakes out, it won't be me holding the short end of the stick.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to make statements on what happened this morning. Send it to the State Dental Society. Then Dr. Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
An excellent idea. I don't know. Perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Neff's proposal.
Why's that?
We're in a very bad situation here, Mr. Reader.
That's true. Mr. Lee says you're having a problem getting girls to work here,
Yes, and we've lost some contracts because of it.
and it's only going to get worse.
Papers are full of stories about those girls.
Making them out to be saints.
And what defense can we put out?
Except to say we'll try our case in court.
And in the court of public opinion, we've already lost. Perhaps we should reconsider. It certainly couldn't hurt to have a testimony from the dentist who treated all those girls. This could be very helpful to us. We should retain him.
Retain him as what? An extortionist?
As an expert.
Like Dr. Flynn.
See, now Dr. Flynn is a highly respected doctor at Columbia University. Dr. Neff is a neighborhood dentist.
But Dr. Flynn treated some of the girls, didn't
He
he?
didn't treat them. He simply consulted with them.
He dispensed medical advice
Or
for
it was an expert's opinion, a scientific opinion.
How about this? We retain Neff, but we don't put him on the stand, just to make sure that he can't testify for the women.
That's the most important thing.
Yes, I agree. That's the most important thing. Would you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader? Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Arthur.
Mr. Reader?
Arthur.
Mr. Reader!
Edward! Edward, we can't possibly get into bed with a man like Neff.
Arthur's right. We do not want to do business with Neff.
He could hurt us. We have to take steps.
He has already given us everything we need. New evidence, ladies and gentlemen. This is grounds for postponement.
3 months. 3 months to study an X-ray. It's outrageous. And the books. Did you see the codes? Their eyes were like saucers looking at me. Terrifying.
Mr. Barry.
How are they supposed to last 3 more months? Catherine Schwab was so sick, she could barely make it into the courtroom today. Grace, she was trying so hard not to cry. Of course, I have all the answers. Go home, folks. Get some rest. That's I can do. Get some rest.
It's a difficult...
I don't understand people like Buckley and Peter. How can they play this kind of game? With the poor girl standing right there.
Perhaps this will help explain. I received a
You'd think the company would be eager to take care of this, with the kind of publicity that has gotten them. But no, Mr. Merkley seems to be enjoying the sport. What you can get away with is cold. Very cold.
Mr. Barry!
What's this?
It's from Catherine Drinker, Mrs. Cecil Drinker of Harvard. She was an industrial hygienist also. She worked with Dr. Drinker on his study of the radium plant. It was a joint effort, actually.
That's very interesting, Miss Wiley, but we've already seen this document. There's nothing in it that can help us.
Mr. Barry, please! This is the complete report. I received it in the letter early this morning. Catherine Drinker has been following our case very closely in the papers, and she was particularly disturbed to read the latest article in the Ledger, the one that says her study cleared the company.
He doctored the report. Vito doctored the report.
Apparently he pulled out one page listing the blood conditions of a dozen or so employees and passed it off as the whole thing. It doesn't look so bad on its own, but in context, it's quite a different picture.
We can use this.
Yes, this will impress the judge.
The judge, Miss Wiley, I am not going to wait 3 months to make use of this. I want you to call that contact that you have up at the New York Globe. If we don't allow us to present our evidence in the courtroom, then we can read about it in the newspaper.
January 12th, 1928. Jack Edward here from the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan from the Graphic.
Radium Girls go to court today.
Radium Girls knock at the door of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor injured girls face pain,
Disfigurement.
ruin,
And death. And as the clock ticks away the precious moments,
a hearing begins in Chancery Court,
where the U.S. Radium Corporation demands a postponement,
and Placer's attorney Raymond Barry makes a shocking disclosure,
showing that the company lied to the Department of Labor,
showing that they distorted the results of a Harvard study,
concealing the ill effects of its products.
Read all about it in the Ledger.
Read it in the Graphic. We care because you care.
Very bad.
Didn't read it?
Make it a point not to these days.
And the others would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell from across the street, she walked right past me this morning. Didn't say a word to me. I know she saw me. And the woman at the market and the green grocer, the way they glanced at each other, and Mrs. Middleton and the women at the club, the whispers.
Why don't you read
At
the
the club today,
I saw you
she had the nerve to say to me, "Is it true? Is it true?" she said. "Did your husband poison those women?" I said to her, "Mrs. Cowles, if you believe it to be true, why would you speak to me at all? I certainly would not associate with a woman whose husband had done such things."
Why do you go there if that's the way the people are?
I've been a member for years.
The woman you say died. That I knew I was poisoning people. And I didn't want to stop it because I was making too much money. Is that what you want to hear?
I do not want you to say such a thing.
Even if they were true. Or especially if they were true.
Is it true?
For gosh sakes, Diane, it's Bonchishaki. He's behind all this. He's jealous of our success and he's trying to feed information to the Consumers League so they can railroad us. I don't know what you have to do good or women. You know, half of them are probably red socialists.
What?
You know, same thing with that club you belong to. You know what? You women think you can go around and fix the world problems while the men go out and make a living. You know what? They're quitting that club.
But the club?
And that idiot, Miss Middleton, I mean, she doesn't know anything.
Not
Half those
making
women don't know anything. Diane, you don't know anything.
Did you lie to the Department of Labor? Did you lie?
Diane, I didn't lie. I just didn't agree with Drinker's results.
Arthur!
I have a fiduciary duty to this company.
Listen to
Diane,
this.
I have documents and I have articles. Tumors the size of baseballs. Radium therapy, the tumors disappear.
Go in upstairs.
Diane, we save lives. Diane, we make lives better. Radium therapy invigorates. Diane, you can't really believe that I'm a liar. That I was out to poison people. And that I would do anything to hurt you or to hurt Harriet.
No.
Then
13 people have died.
1,000 people die every day. The newspapers are full of death witnesses. Young, old, infants, children, younger than Harriet die every day.
It worked for you.
They worked at other places. Okay, I have a report from a professor at Columbia University, and an expert in industrial hygiene, just like Drinker. Says there's no connection between our plants and these illnesses. I need to see the report.
And what could the cause be?
I don't know. I have done everything that I can. I don't know. Diane, please say you believe me. If you don't believe me, then none of this matters.
Cody,
Do you remember what you said to me when I told my father I wasn't going in the ministry?
you can do as much good in a boardroom as you can in a church.
Do you remember?
And I forget.
I was such a scared kid. And he was an icon. And if it weren't for you, I don't think I could have stood up to him.
Would have, Ernie. You know you could have.
You know, ever since then, that boy, you know, he's been looking for signs. You know, that my soul is lost. You don't think that my soul is lost, do you?
You're a good man, Artie.
You save lives.
You save lives.
Diane, everything I do, it's always for you. It always has been.
No.
Please don't be another reporter. Diane, please don't get it.
Arthur,
Is that Mr. Lee?
I just got off the phone with the Ledgers.
Couldn't wait until morning.
I'm sorry. Good evening.
Mr. Lee?
It's Dr. Lehman.
Dan?
He's dead, Arthur.
Oh, Charlie, that can't be true. Charlie, I saw him last week.
He was just here a month ago. The corpse. You were just here.
Arlen has already done the autopsy. He said it was severe anemia.
He's blaming the radium.
The ledger told me they're going to run it on page 1. I told them we would issue a statement by 8 p.m. That's when they need it, so it can run tomorrow.
What are the services?
Sorry?
When are the services?
I don't know.
Listen, Flowers dying.
Right. I'll call Louise.
Please call Louise.
Poor Louise. We should go see her right now.
I wouldn't do that.
Why are we not?
She's planning to sue.
Louise.
The reporter from the Ledger told me she's filing a wrongful death action. I've already worked up a statement for the paper. Company chemist for 8 years. Always in poor health. Recently in decline.
But Dan was never sickly. He was always on the golf course. Or sailing. Artie, they kept a beautiful garden.
Let's talk about this in the morning, Charlie.
Of course. Sorry bringing bad news. Mrs. Reader, good night.
You know, Charlie can be a bit excessive at times.
All right, you can explain. All right, you needn't explain. We're going to throw this away now.
There's half a case under the sink.
We'll get rid of that too. I'm to have no more of it in this house.
Diane, I'll do it. Diane, I'm too far to quit now.
I really didn't expect you to.
February 21st, 1928. To Mr. Raymond Berry, from Dr. Harrison Marvin, medical examiner, Essex County. We've examined the remains of the deceased Amelia Magna. Our study reveals the following. Radioactive substances have been found in large quantities in the lower jaw, the upper jaw, and the lumbar vertebrae. No evidence of syphilis found.
Body's radioactive.
Phone the dead girl kick off giveaways.
Catherine Wiley of Consumer League declares new evidence shows company lied.
Dr. Joseph Neff, a Newark dentist who treated Amelia, has turned over portions of the jawbone he removed from her mouth. This X-ray film shows the jawbone is still radioactive 5 years after the girl died.
Will this make your case?
Will this force the settlement? Make our case? No. This gentleman will make our case.
Last night, in a graphic exclusive, the founder of the Radium Corporation broke his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Dr. Von Shockley, is it true that you assisted with the autopsy?
Ja, and given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine that Miss Maggie had absorbed enough radium to kill at least 10 people.
Doctor, what does it say about mild radium therapy? Are you now advising against it?
Radium is responsible for the deaths of these girls. It should be considered the most dangerous substance.
Do you agree with the doctor's prognosis that the Radium Girls only have 1 year left to live?
From what I've seen, they'll be lucky to last that long.
Like what we should have done. We should have taken the reporter up on their offer when we had the chance. That's what we should have done.
$5,000. Don't make me
We
laugh.
could have talked to them too. Because I tell you what, they would have paid. I'll tell you what else we should have done.
Stop telling me what we should have done. There's lots of things we should have done. It don't do no good to think about them now.
Alright, keep your shirt on. What if they went for $5,000? Would you take it then?
Let him come up. I'm not caving.
It's called a
A
settlement.
settlement. It's just another way for them to
Just
hide.
let them hide.
Then they
So
win.
they win, they're gonna win anyways.
Nice to see you have so much confidence in me.
Christ's sakes, Grace, you've got one lawyer working for nothing. Up against 6 lawyers who are working for a bundle. You really think you had a chance?
You know what I found out today? They put lead screens in the laboratories for the technicians. Did they give us lead screens?
Jesus.
What do you think? 100 girls and they're going to spend that kind of money on us?
Grace.
But they want to keep it all quiet. And
You're
Miss
doing it,
Wyman says
Grace.
they're moving across the
Grace.
river to New York to open up
Grace.
another factory like nothing
What
ever
are you doing
happened.
here, Grace? I thought the idea was that we get some money to settle your debts. Maybe buy a better doctor. And then we get on with things.
Get on.
Learn my ring.
Oh, Tommy,
There's a house for sale in my brother's neighborhood. 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. It's not what it was to start. And you like it there. They've already got the flowered wallpaper. And the best part is it's only 3 blocks away from the school.
School? What do we need a school?
Plan ahead for once.
Tommy, what do you think's gonna happen? After all of this is over, do you really think that things can just go back to the way they were?
Why are you looking at it?
I gotta see the surgeon again.
Huh?
I've got some fluids and he's gonna drain them.
Okay.
And then he says there'll be more.
So just deal with it when it
still
comes.
more and still more and still more and still more. Why can't you see that? How can you talk about buying houses and getting married when you know there is nothing?
Grace, I just can't think about that. I'm going to go home to you at night. To my wife and my home. I'm too old to be living this in-between life. I promise you, Grace, I'll do whatever it takes to make it easy for you.
all the time.
No, I don't want it.
Tommy! You really believe me say it?
You're not giving us sleep. That's all it is. You just need more rest. Be back to see you tomorrow.
Tommy.
Just get some rest.
Tommy. Tommy. Tommy! Tommy! Don't you do this to me! Tommy!
Arthur. Charlie. Aren't you headed home?
Charlie, I've been thinking it over. I think we're taking the wrong approach here. Settle. Make a reasonable offer to those girls.
No, Arthur, we agreed we need a definitive victory, otherwise we invite more of the same nonsense.
Charlie, things have changed.
Arthur, I know you and Dan were close, but you can't let that cloud your judgment.
Why don't you shock he's going to testify?
And deal with it. How? Put more money in his pocket.
You want to bribe him?
Not a bribe, consideration.
Consideration.
For an expert witness, whatever Barry is paying him, we'll just make a better offer.
You don't seem to understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking about
Let me
it.
tell you something, Charlie. You know, a guilty man has a tremendous need to unburden himself. But the guilt keeps people alive. Don't you see? The Bachashaki wants us to be free. That's why he's testifying for those girls, and that's why he'll never testify for us, no matter how much consideration you offer him. No. You tell Markley to get in touch with Barry, get a conversation.
Arthur, for God's sake, every penny I've put by in the last 7 years, I have sunk into this company. Why? Because of you. Because you said it was a sure thing, no miss. Why work for ourselves when we can work for ourselves? Remember that one? Take a chance, Charlie, take a chance.
Charlie, you're a fool. I bunch of fucks, sorry for us all. Let's do right now. Let's clean this up as best as we can.
Do this, and it's the end, Arthur.
Just looking down, Charlie. Well,
Don't you know? They're one vote away from getting rid of you.
whose vote is that, Charlie?
Arthur, you're so little thinking.
I'll still be on that board, Charlie. You don't have enough votes to get me off that board. I'll still be on that
It's
board.
still on the hook if this company goes under. Think about that the next time your conscience starts to bother you.
March 15th, 1928, to Raymond Barry, attorney at law. From Edward Markley, counsel, U.S. Radio. One of our key witnesses has expected a very serious conflict and will not be able to testify in April. Therefore, we are requesting an extension until June. As for the settlement request, well, every case has some humanitarian aspect. Therefore, I do not believe that can be a way to settle this one. But I have no doubt that you will be rewarded for the work you are doing. If not in this life, then in the next.
Tommy, please, Tommy, rise and shine. Madame Curie, time to work. Am I late? I set an alarm. We have 5,000 dials to pay before breakfast. It's all for the work. Please, I'm so very tired. No complaining, but soldiers do not complain. I'm dying. And who isn't? Get up, Chris. Irene.
Get up, sleepyhead. You'll never make a quota like that.
I'm 26. I should be married by now. I should have my own family, children. Oh, life is sacrifice for something. I don't know why I did it. Why? Why do we have to make sacrifices?
It's a matter of choosing which.
I didn't get to choose! I didn't choose any of this!
Sure you did, Grace. Sure you did.
Catherine, don't do that! Do not! Catherine! Catherine, what you... She's bleeding all over the dials! I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I guess I shouldn't have said anything.
No problem. What is one more dead giant picture?
No, please, Catherine! Irene! I didn't mean to! Please! Please, Irene! Catherine! Please! Catherine! Please!
Grace? Grace, what are you doing? Mr. Markley will be here any minute.
Mr. Markley?
He's bringing the papers for you to sign. Did you fall asleep?
Did Miss Wiley stop by?
Miss Wiley?
Catherine. As she said she'd stop by, did she come by?
She might have.
You know?
Someone came to the door a while ago. I think your brother answered it. Look, Grace, you gotta get ready.
They took Catherine to the hospital last night.
I know, dear. I know. After we talk to Mr. Markley, we'll go over there and see how she is. Now, put a comb through your hair.
I dreamt that Catherine died.
Grace, don't speak such things.
If she dies, then this is all over.
We're 3 months behind on the mortgage.
I know that.
You can't let this go on.
$1,500. It's not even a year's wages.
Well, it's better than nothing, ain't it?
Is that all I'm worth to you? Better than nothing.
Of course not, sweetheart, but you gotta be realistic. At the rate things are going, you'll never see inside that courtroom. And even if you do, you can't prove nothing.
Mr. Barry thinks we can.
Mr. Barry ain't paying the bills. There's the doctor, and the bank, and the coal man. We can't expect people to keep treating us like charity just because you're sick.
I'm not asking for charity, Ma. I just want what's owed to me.
Grace, I know it feels like you're letting Catherine down, but if she decided to take up the company's offer, would you hold it against her? No. You wouldn't. Now, we'll take that check and pay the bills, and whatever's left over, you and Tom can have. A little something to get you started.
There's nothing to start, Ma.
Why do you have to be so hard on Tommy?
Oh, please don't.
Can't you see? He just can't bear the idea of not being with us.
I have to bear it. Why can't he?
Do something with your hair, Grace.
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Fryer? I can't imagine. There's no point to it. Mom, you didn't tell me I had mail. New Mexico. They just keep sending.
Edward Hartley.
Moss said he brought the papers.
Yes, it is as we explained in our letter. $1,500 to you. And I have a check right here. It only needs your signature.
Chris, Mr. Markley is a very busy man.
Oh no, please. Look it over carefully. If you prefer, I can leave it and come back tomorrow.
No, we'll do this now.
What's hold harmless?
You agree to hold the company harmless from any further action.
No more lawsuits.
Correct.
Is that just for me or for anybody in my family?
That includes your entire family. And there is a wrongful death action also.
This is a confidential settlement.
Yes,
You didn't say nothing about it being confidential.
that's standard for most settlement terms, Miss Fryer. We like to protect our privacy as well as yours. It cuts both ways. You agree to keep quiet about the terms of the settlement, and so do we.
That seems fair.
Do you need a pen?
I have another question.
Grace, Mr. Markley already explained the settlement terms to you.
I don't mind. Really.
What's contributory negligence, Mr. Markley?
Where do you see that?
No, it's not in these papers. It's in them other ones that you filed for the lawsuit. The Radium Girls said that their defense was the statute of limitations and contributory negligence.
I'm sorry, Miss Fryer. I don't know what your question is.
It means it's our fault, don't it?
Mr. Markley, Grace has had an awful headache all day. Maybe you could leave the papers.
Maybe he could just answer the question.
Why are you doing this?
When did you tell me Miss Wiley stopped by?
You had already made up your mind. Miss Wiley was only going to try and change it.
What did she say about Catherine?
Mr. Markley, if you could just leave the papers
Mom!
here.
What did Miss Wiley say about Catherine?
She said it don't look good.
Maybe I should come back when Miss Fryer is feeling better.
You didn't answer my question, Mr. Markley. And I would really like an answer. Because let me tell you, I quit school at 15. I went to work at the radium plant because my folks needed the money. At your company, they told us what to do and when to do it, how to do it. My folks didn't raise me to make trouble, so I didn't make trouble. I did what I was told. I never asked questions. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
It's a standard defense, Miss Fryer. I wouldn't take it personally.
There's nothing standard about it. How else am I supposed to take it?
We deeply regret your situation, Miss Fryer, but there is no evidence to tie your condition to the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
It's a humanitarian gesture.
Humanitarian? Mr. Berkeley, humanitarian gesture? Month after month, you put us off. Delay after delay. Knowing how sick we were. How tired and desperate. Humanitarian gesture. You're just waiting for us to die. Grace, please, stop this now. One by one, I watched my friends get sick and die in the most horrible ways. And you want me to be grateful for any bit of spare change that they throw at me?
Miss Fryer, this is a very generous offer under the circumstances. I would suggest that you take it because it won't be on the table for very long.
What do you mean?
Well, if Miss Fryer doesn't sign within 24 hours, we will be forced to withdraw our offer permanently.
Grace,
He's lying.
Beg your pardon, miss?
You mean to tell me that if I don't sign these papers right now, but I come back a week from now and say I've changed my mind, you'd still rather take this to court? You'd still rather some judge take a look at me and take your chances that I would win on sympathy alone? 24 hours. You're just trying to bully me.
Very well, Miss Fryer. I will take that as a no. And we will see you in court.
Yes! Yes, you will! You will see me there if they have to carry me in there! You and Mr. Reader, both!
you call that man back here right now.
I'm going to court, Mom.
And what are you trying to prove? You know you can't win.
I want those people to look at me. I want them to look at me and explain how it's my fault I got sick working in their factory.
And what will that get you? What?
Oh. All my life, I've done what other people told me to do. I quit school at 15 because you said I should. I put that brush in my mouth because Miss McNeil said I should. I never said, please, can't I finish school first? I never said I don't like the taste of paint. I never asked questions even though I knew, Mom, I knew something wasn't right. At night, I'd lie in my bed and I'd see my dress hanging on the back of my closet door. All aglow.
left a message with your housekeeper. I know you got them.
As we are no longer in business together, I thought it best not to respond.
Is that what this is about?
Perhaps a cup of tea will calm your nerves?
No. You never told anyone that the paint was dangerous. You never told me. You never told Dad.
I didn't know.
You didn't know. You invented the paint, yet you didn't know. How could you lie like
I
this?
didn't know until it was too late.
No, I should put you through a wall right now.
Perhaps you should, but you will not. You will sit down and you will calm yourself.
You know, I was never the technical man. You were the technical man.
Child, I was the technical man. Sit down,
I sold watches, for Christ's sakes. You know, I was a salesman.
A good one at that. Very good head you have for the business. Not such a good head for the science, but for the business, very smart. Always could find ways to cut costs without ever losing the quality. It's a gift, Arthur. So why don't you have some tea?
Jesus, what's wrong with your hands?
They've been like that for quite some time.
Have you been dipping them in ink?
Dipping them in ink? How fond of that pretty story are you? No. Only for ink. Dr. Martland tells me it's necrosis of the tissue. The cells, they are dying. The dial painters in the jaw started the necrosis. Me in the hands.
I didn't know.
No reason you should. It's been quite some time since I last spoke to you.
How long?
I have known for quite some time. Miss Wiley from the Consumers League persuaded me to assist Dr. Martland in testing the girls for radium exposure. There aren't that many people, you know, who can measure that kind of thing. So she came to me, knowing I had the equipment, of course, skill. I didn't want to believe her either, Arthur. I didn't want to believe that the girls could get sick working with my paint. I wanted to show her it was all a big mistake. So I agreed to assist Dr. Martland in conducting an expired air test on the girls. It was then when I found out. In my own breath, registered radioactive. Then my fingers, they began to turn black. Maybe you should have a word with me.
I'm sorry.
Well, perhaps you should schedule an appointment with Dr. Martland yourself.
Why's that?
Arthur, did you not notice the glowing dust on your shoes when you went home at night?
How could I missed it? I dragged it off of the house.
Well, you can be sure that a great deal of it is now in your lungs. Look familiar?
It's our promotional piece.
An excellent one at that. How many new sales did that book account for?
Well, I didn't track it exactly. I'd like to think it helped our medical market quite a bit.
Page 96.
What?
Open it. The last chapter. Read it to me.
The last chapter. Radio. Dangerous effects.
Dangerous effects. How many articles do you have listed? 10, 15?
15 it looks like.
How far back do they go, those articles?
I don't know.
Look at it. The first one there, what does it read?
1906.
1906. Now let me see. You plan to go into that courtroom and testify that you had no idea that radium was dangerous. How do you plan to do that, Arthur? When your own book says it was. How do you plan to say you did not know?
I never really read it. Never really read it. I had somebody prepare the piece, and I just glanced at the galleys. I never really read it.
How do you mean you've never read the book?
It's a standard arrangement. Outside company prepares a piece, and they're responsible for the contents.
Which you never
I
read.
think you will find, Mr. Barry, that not a lot of company presidents read their promotional material word for word.
It has your name on the cover, you authorized its release, and you had final approval of its
I
content.
trusted our promotional activities to Mr. Lee at the time. He was responsible.
Now tell me, Mr. Reader, you earlier testified that you started at the U.S. Radium Corporation in 1918,
Yes, as a plant manager.
and you held that position for how long?
4 years.
And during those 4 years, how often did you venture into the studio?
Every day.
Every day. So you must have observed the girls putting the brushes to their lips.
I don't recall.
You don't recall.
I
You and I don't recall.
Then what do you recall, Mr. Vito? Because you're an awfully young man to have such a faulty objection! I withdraw. No more questions.
Your witness, Mr. Markley.
We have no questions for this witness, Your Honor.
All right, then, gentlemen, please approach. I'm ready to issue my statement.
But, Your Honor, we have yet to present our defense.
I understand that, Mr. Markley, but this hearing is determined standing. Now, I've heard enough in these 2 days to understand that the radium in these girls' bones is an ongoing source of poison in their systems. Nothing your witnesses can say will overturn that fact, will it?
Our witnesses are prepared to testify that the company could not have known about the
Mr.
danger.
Markley, in the interest of justice, I am asking that the defense rest today without calling a witness. We can then end this trial and set a date for the real one.
All right.
Very well. I therefore declare that the statute of limitations has not been exceeded, and these girls have standing to sue.
Your Honor, one thing. I am a very busy man with 2 other cases pending, and a key witness that will not be available until the end of summer, and we will not be available until September. Your Honor, I'm sorry, Your Honor, but our expert key witness is associated with an institution of higher learning, and this is the busiest time of year for him. I cannot expect him to appear.
Your Honor, Mr. Markley is responsible for that situation. He is the one who has demanded these continuous delays.
Your Honor, we have just agreed to waive our right to present witnesses at this hearing. Surely you will not force us to present our defense at the trial without the presence of our key witness.
All right, Mr. Markley. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Edward, why can't Flood appear?
He's going to Europe.
He's going to Europe. He's known about this for months and he's going to Europe. Why would he? Very clever, Edward. How long do you think you can keep this up?
As long as necessary.
Mr. Markley.
Mr. Barry, congratulations. I never thought the court would go for it.
You know full and well that these girls cannot wait until September. One is so ill that she could not appear in court.
My client has the right to present his defense.
We will not wait until September. I promise you that one way or another, we will find him on the docket. And your expert witness will be damned.
Edward, that girl, she's staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
She thinks I did this on purpose. I meant this to happen. Oh, I tell her that I didn't mean for this to happen.
You don't. You don't tell her anything. You don't try to make her understand anything.
She looks like death, Edward.
They all look like death, Arthur.
Grace. That man is blind. He won't look at me. He won't ever look at me. He just looks right past me like I'm not even here.
It doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you. June 4th, 1928. Nancy Jane Harlan here from the New York Graphic.
Jack Youngwood for the legend.
Raymond Barry seeks trial date for early summer.
As U.S. Radium Corporation announced a settlement.
A settlement?
$10,000 cash for each girl and $12 a week for life.
$12 a week?
Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source for news.
The company also agrees to pay the medical expenses for each girl for the remainder of her life. And the girls have also agreed to submit a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Questions?
What led to the settlement?
Is this an admission of responsibility?
What about other pending cases?
It was purely for humanitarian reasons that the U.S. Radium Corporation agreed to the settlement. We admit no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The U.S. Radium Corporation is pleased to have brought this lengthy litigation to a close. Looks forward to many more years serving its customers and this community. And that's C.B. Lee, President.
Catherine Wiley with New Jersey's Consumers League, our press statement.
Were you pleased with the outcome, Miss Wiley?
Finally, these poor girls got some compensation for their suffering. But even more importantly, the issue of radium poisoning has been brought to public awareness.
Thank you, Miss Wiley.
Oh, the spelling, by the way, is Catherine with a K and Wiley with one L.
Well, Edward, looks like we're back in business.
What's your game plan?
Didn't I tell you? Gonna fire for those tailings that have been piling up behind the building on Alton Street.
Oh, really?
Yes, a contractor in Montclair needs a little infill.
That's perfect.
No, Catherine. This won't do. We can't see your name. There. That's better. Well, Catherine, I brought my watercolors today. It's a beautiful day, too. The trees are starting to turn. It's still warm. Too warm for a sweater. There's not much of a breeze. It's a fine day to paint.
I thought I might find you up here.
You were right.
It's quiet up here. I guess if you have to rest in peace, this is the place to do it.
I guess it is.
What do you call that?
Watercolors. I'm not so good at landscapes,
Oh
though.
no, it's good, Grace. It's nice.
First thing I bought with the settlement money was some watercolors. Oils, too.
Oh, big spender.
And then I bought a car.
I didn't know you could drive.
Oh, I can't. My brother drove me here. He's gonna show me how.
Grace, if you wanted to learn to drive, I could have taught you.
I've got other things to do, Tommy.
You know about that.
Orange just isn't that big.
Grace, I meant to tell you myself. That's why I came up here today.
It's all right. I'm happy for you. For both of you.
No hard feelings then.
You really think I have time for that?
I'm glad it worked out for you, Grace. Are you glad? I mean, you don't think you'll back down too soon, do you?
You didn't back down. They backed down. Papa?
It was over here.
This again.
It's the last place I saw her.
This is morbid, Papa.
No, I stood there a long time. She didn't notice me doing something made her look up.
Oh boy. No wonder Mama won't come for drives with you anymore. This is how you spend your Sundays.
She stared at me and died. Anyway,
It's just like that day in the courthouse. He can't bring himself to look at me. You need to find another hobby. Retirement isn't good for you.
you married me when I was started counting. I never knew what I would say if I had the chance of There she was, and I had the chance.
So what did she say?
I couldn't bring myself to speak.
It's almost as if he's afraid to look at me.
I had my chance and I couldn't speak.
He's afraid of me. Oh, but that was years ago. Why don't you just forget about it? It's not like it was your fault. People didn't know about things like that then. Science just wasn't as advanced the way it is now.
You know, sometimes I think back on those days, on how they could have happened. You know, I remember so clearly descending the stairs to the studio on Oldham Street, and those high and wide windows that slant up the light has it hit the floor creaking under my feet, the smell like an old schoolhouse. And the girls all bent over the task and they're playing blues smocks. Their hands so fast, so delicate. You know, no man could the way those girls could. So fast, so delicate. Their hands flying from the dials to the pins, to the dials to the... Harriet, try as I might, I can't remember their faces. I never saw their faces.